And when he got down there, he put his scope up. Then he looked again, and he put his scope up again, and he says it wasn't an elk. He said it was a Bigfoot. And pretty soon, it looked at him like, whoa, someone's there. And my brother said he kept looking at it and kept looking at it, and pretty soon my brother said that he couldn't. He said it was like you said, like you felt like you were high. I've never been high in my life, but I can imagine. My brother said that everything was just lost control of his vision and all of that.
Wow.
And he made his way back up to the truck, and my brother was really freaked out. And so he started the truck and he put it in drive and he took off, and he said it felt like everything was going like 100 miles an hour by him.
Wow.
Yeah, he said that after he got down the road a ways, that he just put it in park and he walked over and grabbed a bottle of water, and he says after a while it just like wore off. But yeah, my brother said that he was maybe 30 yards from it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about the story when you were driving home after the basketball game?
Oh yeah. Used to coach high school basketball with my brother-in-law, John Brinziello. And we always stayed after home games. We always stayed after and talked about the good, the bad, what we need to work on. And for some reason, we stayed a long time. Usually it was like a half hour, but this time it was like an hour and a half. And I didn't realize it, and he didn't realize it. And we're just sitting there talking, what do we need to do to get better? What do we need to do because we want to
improve?
So that when we go to the playoffs and we have a chance to go to state. So we talked and I looked, I was like, oh crap. It was like almost 11 o'clock. And so I give my sister a hug, I shake John's hand, I jump in my truck, and it was in December. I remember it was in December, and it was foggy out, and it was cold, really cold. And so I'm taking off, I'm leaving the school, I get on the road, and maybe 3-4 minutes from the school, there's a straight stretch, and it's about 2, almost 3 miles long. And I'm driving, I got my fog lights on, and I see something on the side of the road, and I slow down. I don't stop yet, but I slow down because I don't know what it is.
Could be a deer, could be a bear.
Yeah, exactly. And so I get closer, and it's big, it's really big, and it's on all fours, and it looks like a bear. Mm-hmm. It looked like a bear to me. And like I said, it's foggy. I probably get maybe 30-40 yards from it, and then I stop, and it looks like a bear. I mean, it's big and it's on all fours, it's huge. And I'm like, holy crap. And I'm thinking, what's a bear doing here? We're in December, what's a bear doing here? And I stop, and it stands up, and it scares the hell out of me. I mean, it stands up and it looks at me, and it just walks across the road and goes into the woods.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was all freaked out. I mean, I was really freaked out. I put it in drive, and I don't know how fast I'm going, and a cop pulls me over. And I'm down by the beach, and he says, do you know how fast you're going? And I just look at him. I mean, I was freaked out, and he could tell that there was something wrong. He says, are you all right? And I looked at him, I was like, no. He says, what happened? And I asked him, I was like, do you believe in Bigfoot? And he says, yeah. And then I told him, the story of what just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks at me and he says, I'll follow you home. And so he followed me home. And it was quite an encounter. It scared the heck out of me.
That Oregonian article that I mentioned to you before from 1924 that mentions Fred Pope?
Yeah.
You're related? Is that your grandpa?
That's my great-grandfather.
Your great-grandfather?
Yeah,
okay.
That's who I was named after.
Yeah, I knew that you were related, but I just wasn't positive.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was your grandpa or your great-grandpa.
Yeah, I was named after him and my great-great-grandfather. They called him Old Man Bob Pope.
Yeah.
And he was last of the medicine men.
Can we call you Old Man Bob Pope?
No, that would be my dad. No.
No, can we call you Old Man Fred Pope?
I am the oldest Fred Pope.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, if you wanted to share any more
Okay.
stories while you were here,
Yeah.
I could.
A lot of stories that I tell to the younger kids.
Mm-hmm.
There's a teacher in Tohola, and she does the culture class, and the culture class is K through 4, I believe. And she teaches them the language, teaches them about the animals, the numbers, and all of that. And sometimes I'll pop my head in there and tell them a story.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's what my grandpa did.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Your grandpa or your great grandpa?
my grandpa. His name was Sully Pope.
Sully Pope.
Real name was Robert, but they called him Sully. And that was my grandpa. He told me stories all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Wish those stories were still like that.
Yeah, and that's why I tell the kids, you know, the high school kids,
Yeah.
get out there, see your grandma and grandpa, because you don't know how long they're going to be around.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I was lucky. I was able to talk to my grandpa on my dad's side and my grandpa on my mom's side. Said I was lucky to do that. I was really lucky. I was like, the stories they told me, man, they're learning. You know, they teach you.
Yeah.
And the kids don't understand that nowadays.
This is all they understand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's my daughter.
Yeah. And she's seen a Bigfoot.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
Just the one time, or?
Yeah, just that one time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I asked her if it scared her, and she said, at first it did. At first it scared me. She says, but then I remember we always feed them, and
Yeah.
I knew they weren't gonna do nothing to me.
Now, when you leave food out, do you leave it in the same area every time, or does it change?
We have an area at our house,
Mm-hmm.
and we just throw it in all the directions,
Yeah.
kind of spread it out.
Yeah.
And before we do that, like I said, we talk to them and let them know, hey, you know, we're not here to bother you. This is where we live. Here's some food for you. And we just, all of us, me and my son and Ruby and my wife,
That's awesome.
yeah, we all do that.
I have a sneaky suspicion they live closer to you than
Uh-huh.
they do to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you know, and that just comes from my grandpa.
Yeah.
When my grandpa was alive, it didn't matter where we were in the woods, he always left food. I mean, he would pack a lot of food, but he always left food. And he would look out into the woods and he would talk to them, and then he would leave food out. And for a long time, I was like, man, who's he talking to? You know, what the heck's he doing? And I never asked. I didn't, for a long time, I didn't ask. I just watched him. And when I got older, then I asked him, why do you do that, Grandpa? Why do you leave food out there? He says, Fred, when I was little, he says, my grandpa, Old Man Bob Pope, he did the same thing. He left food out for them, and we never asked who them were. And he says, so when you're out in the woods, or if you're in a wooded area, you leave food out for them, and they'll take care of you. And yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's stories and stories and stories.
And thanks for the stories.
Oh yeah,
You know? And you don't mind if I share them?
No.